The first time I saw her, she was a silhouette against the setting sun, standing on the balcony of the impossibly grand villa next door. Her hair was as black as midnight, and her silk robe seemed to catch the last rays of light, making her glow. I had just moved into the small, humble house beside hers, a rental with peeling paint and a garden that had long given up. But my gaze was always drawn to that villa. Its tall windows and quiet, imposing presence felt like it was pulling me in. Or maybe it was never the house. Maybe it was her all along. Her name was Elena. As far as I could tell, she lived alone in that massive house, a space that seemed to yawn with emptiness around her. The neighborhood whispered stories about her, that she was a painter, a recluse, shrouded in mystery. I never saw her with a brush though. I only ever saw her in these stolen moments, tending to her vibrant flowers, sitting by the window late at night with a single glass of red wine, or walking barefoot across her marble terrace as if she owned not just the house but time itself. Every glimpse felt like I was watching a scene from a movie I wasn't supposed to see. It all started so simply, so innocently. One afternoon, as I was trying to tame the weeds in my own sad little garden, she looked over the hedge separating our worlds and waved. My heart did a little flip-flop. I waved back, probably a bit too eagerly. Soon, those waves turned into small talk, the kind of conversations that hang in the air long after they're over. "You should come over for tea sometime," she said one day. Her voice was light, casual, but her eyes were deep, unreadable pools that held a universe of secrets. I hesitated. My world was so small, so ordinary, compared to hers. But curiosity is a powerful thing, and it won out over my caution. Stepping inside her villa was like crossing a threshold into another dimension. The air was thick with the scent of jasmine and old, well-loved books. The walls weren't just walls. They were galleries, lined with breathtaking paintings of women. Each portrait was heartbreakingly beautiful, each face telling a story, yet none of them captured the essence of the woman standing right beside me. She led me to a sunlit room, canvases leaning against every surface, some finished, some just beginning. "I paint what I feel," she explained, her voice soft as she turned to face me. "Not what I see." Her gaze held mine for a moment too long, and in that silence, I felt something shift between us. It was a quiet recognition, a current of understanding that needed no words. Then, she did something that made the air crackle. She reached out and gently brushed a stray strand of hair from my face. Her fingers were cool, her touch deliberate and feather-light. My heart began to race, a frantic drum against my ribs. It was such a small gesture, but it felt monumental, like the first crack in a dam. That evening, as the sun melted behind the hills, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, we found ourselves on her plush velvet couch. The space between us grew smaller and smaller until our knees were almost touching. She started to open up, telling me about her past, about a woman she had once loved with all her heart, a heartbreak so profound it had driven her to retreat into this beautiful, lonely villa. In return, I found myself telling her about the loneliness that had pushed me here, to this town, searching for a sense of peace, but instead, finding her. The silence that followed was different. It wasn't empty. It was electric, humming with unspoken feelings. And then, without any warning, she leaned in. It was hesitant at first, a soft, tentative brush of her lips against mine, more of a question than a statement. I didn't answer with words. I couldn't. I simply kissed her back, and in that moment, the rest of the world just fell away. There was only the scent of jasmine, the taste of wine on her lips, and the overwhelming feeling of coming home. Her hand came up to cup my jaw, and I could feel a slight tremor in her touch, a delicate mix of raw desire and a deep-seated fear. The kiss deepened, becoming slow and searching, a conversation our souls were having. It tasted of longing, of unspoken confessions, of years of solitude finally coming to an end. Every second felt stolen, precious, like we were hoarding moments of sunshine before a long winter. When we finally broke apart, both of us breathless and dazed, she whispered, her voice barely audible, "You shouldn't get too close to me." My own voice was shaky when I replied, "Maybe I already am." After that first kiss, the days and nights began to blur into a beautiful, intoxicating haze. I found any and every excuse to see her. I'd knock on her door to borrow a book I didn't need, or a cup of sugar I already had. Sometimes I'd just knock on the door for the simple pleasure of seeing her smile when she opened it. We'd talk for hours, about everything and nothing. And sometimes words weren't necessary at all. The charged air between us spoke volumes, a silent language of glances and touches that said more than 1,000 words ever could. But love, much like art, demands truth. It can't live in the shadows forever. One night, as we stood under a blanket of stars, she confessed she was leaving. An artist's residency abroad, an opportunity she couldn't pass up. "I can't stay trapped in this house forever," she said, her voice laced with a sadness that mirrored my own. I felt my heart quietly breaking, shattering into a million tiny pieces. We were in the garden, the moonlight casting a silver glow across her face, making her look ethereal, like a dream I was about to wake up from. I reached for her hand, my fingers intertwining with hers. And this time, she didn't pull away. For a long, perfect moment, everything was still. Time itself seemed to be holding its breath, suspended somewhere between goodbye and forever. And then, she kissed me one last time. It was different from all the others, deeper, fiercer, filled with a desperate passion. It was the kind of kiss that says, "Remember me," the kind that burns itself into your memory forever. The villa next door stands silent now. Its windows are dark, its garden a little wilder. The life that once pulsed within its walls is gone. But sometimes when I walk past, I can still picture her there. I see her painting, a small smile on her lips, lost in her own world. And I wonder if she ever thinks about that summer, about the brief, beautiful time when two women found each other in a world of whispers and shared glances. I used to be mesmerized by my neighbor's villa, but now I know the truth. It was never the villa. It was always only her.